Hi guys, today we're going to learn about the question game, and this is something you can use in a class. In the place of a lesson, you can still teach an entire chapter using this game, so you don't have to um, combine lessons or anything like that. It's just a different method of going through the material in a good way. So I want to show you where the question game came from. Um, and if we're here on the church website and we go to Serve and Teach, come down to Seminary, and up here to Training, to the Gospel Teaching and Learning Handbook, and over here to Teaching Methods, Skills, and Approaches. And the number one skill in teaching is to be able to ask questions. President Eyring said to ask and answer questions is at the heart of all learning and teaching. There are four kinds of questions we can ask in our teaching. They are search questions, analyze questions, application questions, and then reflection questions that invite feelings and testimony. For the purpose of the game, I put them in that order. So 1, 2, 3, and then reflection is the fourth one. And you can read all about those questions and how to ask them yourself down here. We'll go through some examples in a second. So that's where the questions come from. Now this isn't you asking them questions. That's not the game. The game is them asking you questions. So here are the instructions. So class, you have, now I explained to them, we're going to play this game. This is class versus teacher. On the board, I'm going to write right here, the class versus teacher thing. I'm going to give them a goofy name and me an awesome name, just to kind of start to get them hyped up or awake. And then I'm going to give them, okay, you have 2 minutes to go in and read these 3 verses and write down some questions that you are going to ask me in 2 minutes. Okay, so if we're going back over here to Matthew 8, 5 through 7, and we're going here for 2 minutes. Now I'm not telling them yet about what kinds of questions to ask. I'm just letting them ask whatever questions they want. So they're going to ask things like, where's Capernaum? What's a centurion? What does beseeching mean? Things like that. So here are my examples. Let me go up to this note right here of search questions. So every time they ask a search question, I'm going to come back here. I'm going to give them 1 point. Oh, you just asked about where is Capernaum? You just asked about what's a centurion? What does beseeching mean? Good job. Oh, somebody asked an analyze question. Well, how did the guy learn about Jesus? Well, we don't know. That's a good analyze question. How far did the guy travel? We don't know that. What does palsy mean? Okay, that's a good 1 point question. Okay, they're going to ask a lot of 1s and 5s, and just keep giving them points 1 and 5. And don't even let them know about apply or reflect unless they ask. If they say, hey, how can I get a 10-point question? Then you can say, well, that's an apply question. And then let them start to think about that. Okay, so here are my apply questions. Who do I know that needs healing? How can I help them find Christ? Do I need healing? Those are all 10-point questions. Okay, and the reflection questions, when has the Lord healed me? You can see it's a different kind of question with a purpose to connect them to Christ, to feel something about what's going on in the scriptures and in their own life. So that's kind of how the question game goes. Generally, that's the first round, and then now if they sit there for 10 seconds and don't ask me any questions at all, I'm going to give myself 50 points. And if they know that you're going to get 50 points, they will ask questions. Okay, so after a couple minutes and they've asked a handful of questions and they've kind of gone through those verses, then it's okay, round 2. Do it again. You're going to get 1 minute to read verses 8 through 10. See what you can find. And then in a minute, I'll come back and look at their questions. What kind of faith did the centurion have? Oh, it was great. That's an information question. The answer is right here in the scriptures. You don't have to really think about it. You just have to look for it. Analyze question. why did he have great faith when he wasn't even a Jew? Okay. Apply, how can I develop great faith in Christ? When have I shown faith in Christ? When have I experienced an increase in my faith in Christ? Now you might want to stop on some of these questions and say, wow, that was a great question. Let's talk about that. Can you tell us when that started to happen for you? When did you start to develop faith in Christ? Or when were you healed or whatever? Okay, so don't just, pass by these great teaching moments, but the purpose is to get them in the scriptures and to start asking questions. So I usually leave a few minutes at the end to talk about, okay, what happened today? What did you learn today? What did you see in the scriptures? Now, can you do that at home? Will you do that tonight? Will you start to ask some questions and write them down? And I think this is something that if you work on it for a few weeks, then they'll start to get really good at questions. And you can even, right in the middle of class, you can even say, hey, that's a great 10-point question. Thank you for asking that application question. Or you could say, who can ask a 25-point question right here? And if you've trained them on what all these questions mean, then this can be kind of a fun thing that you can carry throughout the entire year. So if you need more help on those question types, don't forget to go back to the manual there. I'll put a link. But I hope everything's going great, and keep up the great work. You're awesome. Let me know if you need anything.